Hey there, Scrapper Names fans, how are we all? So I'm back with another instalment into my Challenge Tuesday, and I'm doing that Stuck Sketches sketch that you just saw me flash up on my phone there. I'm using these two photos, which is of my son and a little quote that I just love. So I'm using this pattern paper as my background. It's from Kaiser Craft, I think it's Havana Nights. I got it in my Kidaholic kit for January. So as I said, I'm using the two photos here. One's a quote and one is of a selfie picture of my son and I from our early family Christmas last year. So the sketch has a piece of paper like a banner behind the two photos, and I've been holding this piece of paper, this pattern paper here, this green coloured one. It's got all these really cute mum type phrases on it, you know, messy bun, having fun, and, you know, mum life and blah, blah, blah. So I really wanted to use it. I knew I'd use it for these photos, so that's what I have done. Again, it's another piece of pattern paper that came in my January Kidaholic kit. And that tag that's up there is one that I made in one of my, I think it was the last Arty Fun Friday I had. I made the altered tags. So a few of my subscribers have said they'd love to see how I'm using it. So I thought I would give it a go and use it in the as part of this challenge. Because in the sketch, which I flashed up really quickly, but if you go to Stuck Sketches, you'll be able to see this challenge for the month. This is for the first part of the month. It has a tag in behind one of the photos, the photo on the left. So instead of actually sticking it behind, I've actually put it right behind and made like a fake kind of pocket for the tag in that pattern paper, if that makes sense. So it also, before I stuck that paper down, I realised that it had a doily on the sketch in the background. So I've kept to that. And I've done that most of the time with this sketch. I've stuck to really the guts of the sketch in its most, I guess you could call, literal sense. So instead of trying to represent the doily in a different way, I've stuck to having a doily. I've just cut it in half, so cheated a little bit and put one part at the top, one part at the bottom. The only thing I guess I didn't do is that piece of pattern paper I'm using to go across the middle to map my photos on. I haven't cut like the fishtail piece out of it. I just wanted to keep it straight across. I really love this piece of paper, and I'm actually thinking about maybe ordering some more because it's really pretty front. Both sides, A and B sides, are really pretty. So just making sure everything lined up really well. I think I was in a bit of an OCD mood when I did this the other day, so everything had to be perfect. So I don't know about if anyone else gets like that. Sometimes you sort of do, I do layouts and I'm like, yep, they need to be exactly perfect. Other times I'm like, no, it's all good. Depends on the day. So hence I'm, go back and forth, measuring out, or not measuring out, but just making sure everything lines up pretty well. And obviously I haven't stuck that second paper down. This layout actually is where I really missed having my removable tape runner that I usually get from Spotlight, and I've run out, so I haven't been back to get any more yet. And I don't know where else to get them from. Or maybe from one of the craft stores here. Might have to pop in and check it out over the weekend, because I was moving things around so much. It would have just been so much easier to have the tape runner where you can sort of move. Yeah, it still has the tape backing, but it doesn't permanently sort of stick straight away, so you can move things around if you need to. That would have been really good right now. But anyway, it worked. I didn't rip anything. I didn't have to rip anything up, any paper up, so it worked really well. So just popping that piece down. I did toy with the idea with this sketch of whether or not I was going to do a pattern paper background or whether or not I would do just a white cardstock with a bit of mixed media. So, but I wasn't really in the mood to do mixed media for this one. So I just stuck with doing sort of a traditional kind of 12 by 12 layout. Sometimes for me with mixed media, I've got to be in the mood to want to get messy. Otherwise, if my head's not in the game, it doesn't sort of work real well. And yeah, so I just wanted to make sure it did. I don't know if anyone else is like that. Do you ever have moods if you do mixed media where you're like, man, I don't really feel like getting messy today? So you do something like this, a traditional kind of layout? Or you just sort of go, yep, that's what I'm doing, and go with the flow. Now, just playing around where I was going to sit these photos, and I did have a fuss around and have a bit of a rough idea of where things were going to be placed before I turned the camera on. Just so, you know, there's not a lot of, I guess, chopping out of things where I'm trying to make my mind up on things. where things were going to be placed. Oh, and so what I decided, for some reason, just the photos themselves needed a bit of backing just to break them up. I don't know whether it's to break them up off that lighter coloured wordy background or what it was. And I tried normal vellum for both of them, like clear sort of vellum, and I didn't like the way it looked. It looked too boring. So I've added this vellum here, and it has like the gold dots on it, and it just gives a little bit of a break between the photo and the background blue paper. And it just lifts the photo a little bit, makes it a bit more fun. I'm not sure. I don't know how to explain it, to be honest. It just didn't look right, and I knew popping it up was never going to add what I wanted it to add. So yeah, I played around here, and I think I try and use some scraps here and be a bit clever with this leftover bit, but it doesn't actually work well. So what I've done is I do put a piece of like the clear vellum behind the quote, and then like the pattern one there. It just broke it up a little bit for me. I can't tell you what it was. Why? It was just a thing at the time for me. Maybe it was a mood thing. Who knows? So how's everyone doing? I'm back to schedule as promised with all our crafty goodness. Today is the 5th of February. It is a Monday, so my stepdaughter started Year 7 today and my littlest one started kindergarten. There wasn't many tears and I held mine. I did very well. So both, by the sounds of it, both seem to have gotten off to a great start. So we shall see in a few hours how their first day went. It's a bit exciting. But it was also a bit exciting because 2 of my kits that I'm now getting each month arrived. So gotta love the beginning of the month for some scrappy Christmas in a box every month kind of thing. Yeah, if you don't subscribe to a kit, definitely look into it if you can do it. I never did. And then I started with the Kitaholic main kit. And then now I'm also getting the Scrapping Fun embellishment kit, which is only $10 a month. So it's got lots of handmade sort of unique goodies. So it's really cool that way. And the Kitaholic kits, have the heaps of stuff. Like I've got a variety of pattern papers from the new Cocoa Vanilla paper, collection More Than Words, some thickers and embellishments, die cuts, all sorts of things. I think enamel dots, I think it blinks today when I opened it quickly earlier. So I find it really, really good. And it's really good to sort of try to curb your spending a little bit. For me, I don't need to add too much more in my stash because I'm getting these things. And I'm also getting the new Colour Blast kit when it starts arriving. So I think it should be sent out shortly. So I should get it soon. But yeah, so definitely if you've got the money to do it, even if you can only do like the embellishment kits, like I said, of the Scrapping Fun kits, it's only, these aren't endorsed by anyway here, I'm just saying. But yeah, so it's always fun I like getting my scrappy mail. It always feels like a present to myself. Anyway, so back to the layout. So I've cut out of that acetate sheet that you saw there, that's a Kaiser Craft one, again from my January Kitaholic kit, these 2 butterflies. Instead of having all the hearts which are in the sketch, I've actually decided to use those butterflies. I really wanted to use that vellum piece, and I did toy with putting it over the top of the or underneath sort of the photos as such, but it was too busy. It just didn't look right and took away from that blue pattern paper with the words on it. So I've gone with this, and then the little Charms Creation blue heart there. Really starting to like these. I brought some in a sale a few months back just to see whether or not I could make them work in the way I scrapbook, and so far so good. So I think I'll order some more. I've got some different coloured ones and different shapes and things like that. So yeah, another Aussie little company here, which is great to support. So just adding my journaling, which I think just said, I think it's like a rare nice selfie of you and I, and I think I just wrote, I love you to the moon and back, because that's our thing. Ever since he was a baby, I always say to him, I love you to the moon and back and back. And yeah, so that's our thing. And I think I just put down the bottom where it was taken and the date. And then the journaling is done. So that's pretty much the guts of this sketch for me. So then I'm just I think I add a few more bits and pieces of my own touch. This little piece here, which you'll see at the end in the close-up, so I end up using, it's actually the branding strip from this paper. I didn't throw it out because when I went to throw it out, I noticed on the back it had this little saying. I can't remember what it was, but you'll see it shortly. And I was like, that is perfect. So I ended up using it. So always pay attention to your branding strip. It might have some words and phrases on it, or it might have some different patterns. Like I've done a layout, I think, before where I've used branding strips as sort of almost like a faux washi look in the background. So there are, there's little cheap tricks and whatnot you can use to extend your stash and what you've got there a bit further. And I wasn't sure about the title here, so I went straight to my thickers, and these bluey coloured aquacolor glitter thickers, which are from the, what's the name, Chamel collection glitter girl it came with. I think that's right. I grabbed them. They just called to me from my scrappiness, so I went with that. So I've gone with the thing Smile. It is very rare to get a smiling picture with my son, so this is a good one. So this can be as good as it gets. He doesn't like photos like most probably preteen boys. And yeah, so we always get goofy smiles or what looks to be cranky faces, or, So it is nice and must document those moments of niceness. So yeah, and I have on my head there, it was our family Christmas. We did it early in December. I think I've explained this in some of my other videos, but on my head there is a headband with like a Santa hat on it. So that's what you can see on my head. So just going through here, and I'm using some bits and pieces from my January Kidaholic kit. I'm trying to use it up. These are ephemera from the Simple Stories pack. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head. If you want to know, let me know and I'll post in the comments as always. But yeah, so I'm just playing around with those, trying to use it up. Plus I had some really nice sentiments in the ephemera pack, so I wanted to use that here. And again, as I said, I've altered the sketch a bit. Like I've done the main part, and now I'm just adding my own touches with these little cluster at the top. And I've created a little cluster down the bottom there next to the quote with the little acetate butterfly, that circle black piece says let's take a selfie, I think, and then there's like a little glitter star as well. So I tried to make some little clusters around the page just to give it some, I can't think of the word, aesthetic, sort of pleasing, I think is what I'm looking for. Might be time for another coffee. Can't think straight. But yeah, so I'm just adding those, and I really liked how this little cluster of these pieces at the top went in so well. I was really conscious of not using too many ephemera pieces that were too wordy, just because I've got that big photo piece of the quote. So yeah. Now I could have journaled on the tag, but I didn't, and as I said, I made this journal the other day in my Friday video, and it does say follow your heart, and I think I've got a close-up, something else, and they're from the Tim Holtz Tiny Words, More Talk, Tiny Word stickers, phrase stickers, whatever. So just adding some little bits and pieces left from my stash there, or not my stash, but from my kit. Some enamel dots. Oh no, I don't think they're enamel dots. They're like little jewel pieces actually. I don't know where I got them from. And some gold Heidi Shine just to add a bit of pops of colour. So I don't make you sit there and watch me shake, shake, shake it. But I've splattered it across the page, and you'll see them in the close-up photos. And this is where I'm going to put that branding strip on, and then I think I am pretty much done. I just thought there was too much of a space there with the doily and that, so I just needed a little something, something. I thought, again, I just sort of go with, sometimes I don't always have a rule as to why I do it. It just, to me, in the moment, it just visually needed something else, so it was perfect. I wanted to add that in. But then I think I am done. And now this week, video-wise, this video will go up tomorrow for Challenge Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, I have my design team share for the Facebook group, Scrapping Good Times. So their challenge for this February. And then Friday with your other video, and then the planner video. So thank you so much for watching. And I will see you again next video. Tomorrow really will be. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and if you've got any questions, hit me up in the comments. Bye guys.